In 1925, Florence Scovel Shinn did something no spiritual teacher of the time had the courage to do. She publicly revealed that financial curses aren't superstition. They are real spiritual weapons, and they can be broken in 20 minutes. Have you ever had the feeling that no matter how hard you work, the money always slips away? That there's an invisible force blocking your prosperity? Florence discovered you're not wrong. This force has a name, has an origin, and has an exact technique to be destroyed. What I'm about to reveal isn't in Florence's most famous books. It's in a manuscript she wrote just 3 months before she passed. A document that remained hidden for decades because what she revealed was too disturbing for the time. Florence confessed that for years she had only taught half the truth. The other half, the part about inherited financial curses, she kept secret until she saw people applying her teachings perfectly and still living in misery. That's when she understood. Positive affirmations don't work when there's an active curse. It's like planting seeds in poisoned soil. You can have the best seed in the world, but if the soil is corrupted, nothing grows. And here's what 99% of people don't realize about financial curses. They don't come from witchcraft or dark rituals. They come from your own mouth, from words that your parents said, that your grandparents repeated. Phrases that seem harmless, but carry destructive generational power. Florence listed 7 phrases that automatically activate financial curses. And if you grew up hearing any of them, there's an active curse in your financial energetic field right now. The first phrase is, "Money doesn't grow on trees." Seems like just a saying, right? But Florence discovered that this phrase programs the subconscious to reject natural abundance. It inverts the law of prosperity. Because in reality, money should be as natural as fruit on trees. But when you hear this repeatedly in childhood, your subconscious creates a block. It starts to believe that money is inherently scarce, and what you believe, you manifest. The second phrase is even worse. It's harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Florence worked with dozens of people who sabotaged their own financial success without realizing it. They were one step away from wealth. And they did something destructive. They lost their jobs, spent everything, got sick. And when Florence investigated, she discovered the same thing. These people grew up hearing that wealth is a sin, that God loves the poor, that it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And here's the curse. Your subconscious doesn't want you to go to hell, so it sabotages any attempt to get rich, because deep down, you've associated wealth with eternal damnation. Florence spent years studying why this belief spread so much and discovered something shocking. This biblical interpretation is wrong. Jesus never condemned wealth. He condemned greed. The difference is huge, but entire generations were programmed with the distorted version and are paying the price to this day. The third phrase that Florence identified is, "I'm just not good with money." Sounds harmless, but it's a declaration of bankruptcy, because every time you say it, you're activating a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your subconscious accepts it as absolute truth and starts to prove that you're right, causing you to forget to pay bills, make bad financial decisions, attract losses. Florence taught that the subconscious mind is like an obedient servant. It doesn't question, it executes. So when you declare that you're not good with money, you're giving an order for your internal servant to sabotage your finances, and it obeys perfectly. The fourth phrase is the most dangerous of all. money runs out. Seems like basic logic, right? But Florence discovered that this phrase violates the spiritual law of infinite abundance. Money is energy, and energy doesn't run out. It transforms. When you program your mind with the belief that money runs out, you're closing the channel of divine provision. Florence used a powerful metaphor. She said that prosperity is like a river. If you believe the river will dry up, you start hoarding water desperately. And the fear of scarcity creates real scarcity. But if you trust that the river never dries up, you drink freely, and the river keeps flowing. The fifth phrase that activates financial curses is, money is the root of all evil. Florence traced this belief back to poorly interpreted religious texts. The idea that spirituality and money are opposites, that you need to choose between God and wealth. And this belief has created an invisible curse in millions of people. Because if you believe that money is evil, your spirit will reject it. You may consciously want wealth, but unconsciously, you'll repel it. It's like trying to hug someone while your body pulls back. The conscious action and the unconscious programming are at war, and the unconscious always wins. Florence had a client named Sarah, intelligent woman, hardworking, did everything right, but never prospered, always on the edge, always struggling. Florence did a deep session with her and discovered that Sarah was raised in an extremely religious home. Where any material desire was seen as a sin, Sarah unconsciously associated money with betrayal of God. So, every time money came, she found a way to lose it, donated too much, loaned and didn't collect. Spent compulsively, because deep down, keeping money caused spiritual guilt. Florence taught Sarah the decree of reversal, and in 3 weeks, her financial life changed completely. But we'll get to that decree. Because first, you need to understand the last 2 phrases that activate curses. The 6th phrase is, money changes people. And this is treacherous because it has a distorted truth. Money reveals who people really are. It doesn't change them. But when you grow up hearing that money turns good people into monsters, you develop an unconscious fear of prospering. Because you don't want to become a monster. You don't want to lose your essence. So, your subconscious creates a financial ceiling, an invisible limit that you never surpass. Because surpassing it would mean turning into something you despise. And the 7th phrase, the one that Florence considered the root of all financial curses. We've always been poor, we'll always be poor. This phrase is a generational pact with misery. It's accepting that poverty is destiny, that no matter what you do, you're trapped in a family pattern of scarcity. Florence discovered that entire families carry this decree for generations. Grandparents who say it to parents, parents who repeat it to children, and with each repetition, the curse strengthens until it seems impossible to break. But here's the truth that Florence revealed in the manuscript. Financial curses only hold power while they remain hidden. The moment you identify them and confront them with an opposing spiritual decree, they disintegrate. And that's exactly what Florence Scovel Shinn did in 1923. In a case that completely changed her understanding of financial curses. Florence was approached by a man named David, a talented entrepreneur. Brilliant ideas, perfect execution. But his businesses always failed at the last moment. Always. He would start companies that thrived for months, until something catastrophic happened. A fire, a partner who betrayed him, a change in the law that destroyed his business model. David was desperate. He didn't believe in bad luck. He knew there was something deeper, and he asked Florence for help. She did something unusual. She asked David to bring her his family documents. Birth certificates, marriage certificates, death certificates. David thought it was strange, but he obeyed. And when Florence analyzed the documents, she saw a chilling pattern. All the men in David's family, for 4 generations, had died broke. All of them. The great-grandfather went bankrupt. The grandfather went bankrupt. The father went bankrupt. And now, David was following exactly the same path. Florence asked if there was any family history about money. And David remembered something his grandfather always told him. A story about David's great-great-grandfather, who had betrayed a partner in a business in the 19th century. The partner lost everything, and before dying in poverty, he cursed David's family lineage. He said that no man in that family would ever prosper, and for 4 generations, the curse came true. Florence could have dismissed this as superstition, but she knew that words carry power, especially words spoken in extreme emotion. That betrayed partner didn't just speak a curse. He felt it with every fiber of his being, and curses launched with deep conviction create spiritual currents that cross generations. But Florence also knew that no human curse is stronger than the law of divine grace, and she had a method to break it. She taught David a decree that he should repeat for 20 minutes, every morning, for 21 days. The decree was specific. It needed to name the curse, recognize its origin, and then invoke the law of grace to dissolve it. David did exactly as Florence instructed, and on the 14th day, he had a dream. In that dream, he saw the partner who had cursed his family. The man was at peace, and he told David that the debt was paid, that he was free. David woke up with a sensation he had never experienced, lightness, as if invisible chains had been broken. And in the following months, everything changed. David's business didn't just survive, it prospered in ways he never imagined. 3 years later, he was one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the region. And for the first time in 5 generations, the curse was broken. Florence documented this case because it proved something crucial. Financial curses are real, but they are breakable. And here's what she discovered about how curses work on the spiritual plane. They're like software running in the background of your subconscious mind. You don't see it, but it controls your financial results. Every time you're about to prosper, the software activates and sabotages you. It might be through impulsive decisions, opportunities you let pass, irrational fears, subtle self-sabotage. But there's always a pattern. And when you look at your financial life honestly, you see the repetition. If you always get close to success and something destroys everything, there's an active curse. If you earn well but never accumulate, there's an active curse. If money comes in and goes out without you understanding where it went, there's an active curse. And Florence created a simple test to identify financial curses in your life. The 3 questions that reveal everything. First question, do you feel guilt when you earn money? I'm not talking about slight discomfort. I'm talking about real guilt. About feeling that you don't deserve it. About immediately wanting to get rid of the money through spending or impulsive donations. If the answer is yes, there's a curse of financial unworthiness active. Second question, do you repeat financial patterns from your parents or grandparents? Even swearing you'd be different, even making opposite choices. If you look at your life and see the same financial results that your parents had, there's an active generational curse. Third question. Have you ever been close to wealth and inexplicably sabotaged it? Lost a great job over something silly? Refused a business opportunity that would have worked out? Spent an inheritance quickly? If yes, there's a curse of active financial self-sabotage. And if you answered yes to any of these questions, pay attention to what comes next, because I'm going to reveal the exact method that Florence used to break financial curses in 20 minutes. But first, you need to understand why 20 minutes. It's not a random number. Florence discovered that the subconscious mind takes exactly 17 to 20 minutes of continuous exposure to a new programming to start accepting it as truth. Less than that, the conscious mind resists. More than that, the mind disperses. But in the 20-minute interval, in a state of focus and repetition, you can reprogram deep patterns. And here's the complete technique that Florence taught. First step, identify the specific curse. Don't be generic. The more specific, the more powerful the decree. If the curse is generational, name it. If it's a phrase you grew up hearing, write it down. If it's a pattern of self-sabotage, describe it. Second step, acknowledge the origin without anger. Florence discovered that anger strengthens curses because anger is directed emotional energy. When you get angry at who launched the curse, you feed the energetic current. The secret is neutral recognition, accepting that the curse exists, that it had an origin, but without emotional charge. Third step, invoke the law of grace. This is the key that Florence discovered in the biblical texts. The law of karma says that you reap what you sow. But the law of grace says that forgiveness dissolves karma instantly, and curses are frozen karma. When you invoke grace through spiritual decree, you melt the karma. Fourth step, declare the opposite of the curse. If the curse is poverty, declare abundance. If it's sabotage, declare success. If it's unworthiness, declare deserving. But use exact words, present indicative tense, as if it were already true. And now, the decree that Florence used with David. The decree that broke 4 generations of financial curse. I give thanks that every financial curse launched against me or inherited is dissolved now by the law of grace. I forgive everyone who spoke words of scarcity about my life. I release my family lineage from patterns of poverty. Declare that I am a child of divine abundance. The universe provides without limits. I accept prosperity as my spiritual right. Every act of sabotage is cancelled. Every block is removed. Every limiting belief is dissolved. I am free. I am prosperous. I am blessed. It is done. It is finished. So it is. Florence instructed Thomas, or rather, let's say, Michael, to repeat this aloud for 20 minutes every morning. And something crucial. He had to feel every word, not just recite it mechanically, but connect emotionally with each phrase. Because financial curses were cast with emotion and are only broken with the opposite emotion. Financial curses come from anger, fear, despair. They are broken with peace, faith, gratitude. And here's what happens on the invisible levels when you do this declaration for 20 minutes, daily. In the first 3 days, your conscious mind resists. You feel it's nonsense, that it won't work, that you're wasting time. This resistance, that's the financial curse defending itself. Don't stop. Between the 4th and 7th day, you start to feel lightness. Small synchronicities appear. Someone pays you back an old debt. You find forgotten money. An opportunity arises. These are signs that the financial curse is weakening. Between the 8th and 14th day, deep internal changes happen. You realize you think differently about money, that the guilt has diminished, that the fear of prosperity is less. Your subconscious mind is being reprogrammed, and after the 14th day, the financial curse is broken. But Florence always instructed people to continue until 21 days, because 21 days consolidate the new pattern. They transform the declaration into a permanent belief. But there's a detail that few people know, a secret that Florence revealed only to advanced students. The declaration alone breaks the financial curse. But to seal the break and prevent the financial curse from returning, you need to take a physical action of prosperity in the first 72 hours after starting the declaration. It can be simple: consciously donating money, investing, even a small amount, buying something that represents abundance to you. The physical action anchors the new spiritual reality in the material plane. Florence called this the principle of three-dimensional manifestation. Thought, word, and action. All three need to align to create a permanent reality. And she had a crucial warning. If you make the declaration, but continue acting like someone who is financially cursed, the financial curse returns, because action contradicts the declaration. And action always speaks louder than words when there is a contradiction. So, if you declare prosperity, but continue complaining about bills, the financial curse comes back. If you declare abundance but continue being stingy, the financial curse comes back. If you declare deservingness but continue sabotaging yourself, the financial curse comes back. The declaration opens the door, but you need to walk through it, and walking through it means changing your behavior. Florence had a complementary technique that accelerated the breaking of financial curses. She called it verbal cleansing. During the 21 days of the declaration, you forbid certain words from your mouth. Forbidden words: I don't have money. It's too expensive. I can't afford it. I'm poor. I'm broke. Money is finite. Any phrase that declares scarcity. And whenever the temptation to speak these words arises, you immediately replace them with, the universe provides. Abundance is on its way. I am prosperous. It seems simple, but it's revolutionary, because your words create reality. Every time you declare poverty, you summon poverty. Every time you declare abundance, you summon abundance. And remember I talked about 7 phrases that activate money blocks at the beginning? Each of them has an antidote, an opposite phrase that not only neutralizes, but reverses the financial curse. Financial curse: money doesn't grow on trees. Antidote: the universe is infinitely abundant and provides naturally. Financial curse: it's harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Antidote: wealth is a divine blessing, and I accept it with gratitude. Financial curse: I'm just not good with money. Antidote: I have divine financial wisdom. Financial curse: money is finite. Antidote: divine provision is inexhaustible. Financial curse: money is the root of all evil. Antidote: money is sacred energy that I use for good. Financial curse: money changes people. Antidote: money reveals my goodness and generosity. Financial curse: we've always been poor. We'll always be poor. Antidote: I break generational patterns and manifest a new reality. Florence taught hundreds of people to use these antidotes, and the results were always the same: rapid financial transformation. Because when you remove the spiritual block, prosperity flows naturally. Think of a dammed river. The water is there, the force is there, but the dam prevents the flow. Financial curses are spiritual dams. The declaration is the dynamite that explodes the dam. And when the dam explodes, the river flows with full force. But here's something that will shock you. Florence discovered that most people don't have just one money block. They have multiple. Mother's money block, father's money block from ex-partners, self-inflicted money block, each one blocking a different aspect of finances. And for cases of multiple money blocks, Florence created a master declaration, a declaration that encompasses all possibilities. I invoke the law of grace upon my financial life now. Every word of scarcity ever spoken against me or by me is canceled. Every limiting belief inherited is dissolved. Every family pattern of lack is broken. Every generational financial curse is destroyed. Every act of sabotage is neutralized. I am free from every financial prison on the visible and invisible levels. The abundance of the universe flows to me without obstacles. I am a divine channel of prosperity. And so it is. And this declaration has multiplied power when spoken between 5 and 6 in the morning. Florence studied Eastern mysticism and discovered that this time is called the hour of Brahma, the moment when the veil between the spiritual and material is thinnest. Declarations launched at this time manifest 3 times faster. But if you can't wake up at that time, don't worry. The second best time is before going to sleep. Because the subconscious mind processes during sleep. When you make the declaration before going to sleep, your subconscious mind works on reprogramming throughout the night. Florence told of a client who broke a financial curse of 7 generations by making the declaration every night before going to sleep for 21 days. On the 22nd day, she received an unexpected inheritance from a distant relative she didn't even know existed. $300,000 in 1924, the equivalent to almost $5 million today? Coincidence? Florence didn't believe in coincidences. She believed in spiritual alignment. When you break financial curses and align yourself with the law of prosperity, the universe conspires to enrich you. And there's a clear sign that the financial curse is broken. You stop desperately caring about money. It might seem contradictory, but that's precisely how it works. While the financial curse lingers, there's an obsession. You're constantly thinking about money, consumed by anxiety. But when the curse is shattered, a sense of peace descends, a quiet confidence that the universe will provide. Florence called this active faith. It's not about passively waiting. It's about acting with unwavering confidence, knowing that positive outcomes are guaranteed. And now, before I unveil the final layer of this powerful teaching, I need to ask something of you. If this message is resonating with your soul, if you feel you've been guided here for a reason, honor that synchronicity with a super thanks. Not just about supporting the channel. It's a financial declaration you're making. You are boldly stating to the universe, I value spiritual knowledge. I invest in my transformation. I am worthy of spending money wisely. And the universe responds to that declaration by multiplying what you give. Because here's a spiritual law that Florence so powerfully taught. You cannot receive what you are not willing to give. If you want money to flow, to you, you must first allow it to flow from you. Your super thanks is your action of prosperity, your physical financial decree. Use it consciously now. And for those who are truly serious about this, I'm going to reveal the deepest level of Florence's technique, what she called permanent financial shielding. Because breaking the curse is the first step, but shielding yourself against future curses is the second, and many people break the curse only to find themselves vulnerable to new ones. The shielding that Florence taught has 3 layers. First layer, guard your mouth. Never speak of scarcity again, not even in jest, not even in a moment of frustration, because your mouth is a creative portal. Everything you declare with emotion, you manifest. Second layer, your circle of prosperity. Remove from your immediate sphere those people who constantly speak financial curses. It doesn't have to be dramatic, but you stop absorbing their energy of scarcity, because curses are contagious. If you spend time with cursed people, you risk contamination. Third layer, daily decree of protection. Every day, in the morning, before leaving your home, you declare, I am shielded against every word of scarcity. Every envy is returned to its sender. Every energy of lack is repelled. I walk in a field of divine abundance. And so it is. These 3 steps create a powerful financial energetic shield. Florence tested this with hundreds of people, and those who applied these 3 steps never again faced serious money blocks. But there's a question that always arises. What if someone recently cast a money block against you? Like a disgruntled former business partner, an angry relative, someone who wished for your financial ruin? Florence taught that recent curses are easier to break than older ones, because they haven't yet established deep roots. And the method is simple. On the very day you learn that someone has sent a curse your way, do this aloud, looking into the mirror. Declare, I forgive Bob completely. I release Bob from all spiritual debt to me. I bless Bob's financial life, and I am free from every word spoken against me. By the law of grace, it is dissolved. It is done. Instant forgiveness dissolves the curse instantly, because a curse feeds on energetic connection. When you forgive, you sever that connection, and the curse has nowhere to cling. Florence had a famous case of a woman named Lisa. Her ex-husband, during their divorce, said she would never prosper on her own, that she would die in poverty. And over the next 2 years, everything crumbled in Lisa's financial life. She lost her job. Her investments failed. She was almost out on the street. When she sought Florence's help, she was desperate, and Florence taught her exactly this decree of forgiveness. Lisa resisted. She hated her ex-husband. She wanted revenge, not forgiveness. But Florence explained, by holding on to anger, you keep the energetic current active. As long as that current is active, the curse has power. If you want to be free, you must cut that current. And the only scissors that can cut a spiritual current is forgiveness. Lisa finally relented. She did the decree, and 3 days later, everything started to change. She received an unexpected job offer. An old investment she thought she'd lost was recovered. Within 6 months, she was financially stable again. And here's the most fascinating thing. She ran into her ex-husband by chance, and he was ruined. Because when you cast a curse, you ultimately curse yourself. The energy always boomerangs back. And while Lisa forgave and freed herself, he clung to the hatred and sank. Florence always said, "A curse is a boomerang. Whoever casts it receives it back, multiplied." And now, the final revelation that Florence left in her manuscript, the secret of secrets about money blocks. There's one primary curse that underlies all the others, a curse that almost everyone carries, and Florence spent years uncovering it. She called it the curse of deserving, the belief that you need to deserve money, that you need to work hard, to suffer, to prove your worth. And the more you believe this, the more the universe makes you work hard, suffer, prove your worth. Because here's the truth that Florence discovered. Abundance is your birthright. You don't need to deserve it. You already deserve it by the simple fact that you exist. The universe doesn't ask trees to deserve to grow, birds to deserve to fly, rivers to deserve to flow. Nature is simply abundant, and you are nature. You are part of divine creation, and divine creation is abundant in its essence. The curse of deserving was planted by religious systems that wanted to control the masses. Because if you believe you need to suffer to deserve heaven, you accept suffering. You don't question it. You don't rebel. But Florence discovered that this is a spiritual distortion. God doesn't want you to suffer. God wants you to flourish, and prosperity is natural flourishing. So, the last decree I'm going to teach you, the decree that Florence considered the most powerful of all, is simply this. I deserve abundance by the simple fact that I exist. I am a child of the universe, and the universe provides for its children unconditionally. I accept prosperity now, without guilt, without fear, without the need to prove my worth. I am worthy. It is done. Repeat that 20 times out loud right now. 20 times. And feel every word. Because when you truly accept that you deserve abundance without needing to prove anything, all financial curses lose their power, simultaneously. And now, I want you to do something. Write in the comments a number from 1 to 10, the number that comes to your mind first. Don't think, just write it. That number is not random. It's a spiritual signal. Each number carries a specific message from the universe about your financial journey. And when you write it, you activate the energy of that number in your life. Write it now and get ready. Because over the next 21 days, if you apply what you learn here, your financial life is going to shift in ways you never thought possible. Florence Scovel Shinn shattered financial curses for thousands, and her technique still works today. Because spiritual laws don't change. They are eternal. You were guided to this video for a reason. It's not an accident. It's divine synchronicity. And now, you hold the key. Use it. Break the chains and manifest the abundance that is your birthright.